Board chairperson, Professor Mbulaheni Maghuve in Pretoria. The event is themed Walking Down the Road of Academia, an account of visually impaired people. Issues expected to be highlighted include social development, individual development, cognitive development, support system, physical and financial assistance of students with visual impairment in institutions of higher learning. Sipo?
Well, a very good afternoon to you. The professor's professor's lecture was rather well received here with the audiences. Audiences included people with variety of disabilities who came through to listen what he had to say regarding his journey as a person living with a disability who is visually impaired. Professor highlighted the struggles and the stigma that he had to go through to be able to be in a position where he is now known as a professor and, of course, as the chairperson of the SABC board. But to hear more, and just very briefly, we will hear from the man himself. Professor, congratulations on your inaugural lecture. Can you just tell us, you mentioned basically that there is still so much that government needs to do to advance the rights of people that are living with disabilities. Can you just tell us what it is that you would like to see happen?
What I would like to see happening is that, for instance, I want to see people with disabilities truly being employed and not just at lower positions. If they have got qualifications and skills and experience, they need to occupy senior positions as well. I want to see doors of education opening wide for people with disabilities, because our education is expensive and government should support us financially and otherwise. I would like to see us playing a critical role in communities where we live. I want to see us advocating and sensitizing our fellow South Africans on what our needs and interests are. But we can only do that if government is on our side.
You mentioned that the government employment target for people with disabilities is sitting at 2%, and you said that that is not really a good target to have set. You would like to see it go higher, perhaps?
Yeah, you see, I always have a problem that when people who are marginalized are being mentioned, every time you would realize that people with disabilities would be the last in that statement, meaning that maybe we are not so important or we were less marginalized, and that is not the case. People with disabilities are marginalized by the disability itself and the people's mindsets and actions and behavior. So this 2% quota for me is very, very minimal. I would be happy if maybe we move from 2 to at least 5. Remember, it is being said by the World Health Organization that 12% of the population is comprised of people with disabilities. So if we are 51 or 52 million citizens in South Africa, 12% of that would be people with disabilities. So what is 2% compared to that number? For me, it is very small. It needs to be upped a little bit.
All right. Well, that is the chairperson of the SABC board telling us that more needs to be done to advance the rights of people living with disabilities. And of course, we know that tomorrow the Department of Social Development is going to launch a summit on people's living with disabilities, where some of these issues, including the ones that the professor has mentioned, will be ironed out.
Thank you very much. That was our reporter Sipo Stearman coming to us live from Pretoria.